Hey guys, and welcome to Nestology. I am your host, Jessica,
And Shelley.
and today we have a special guest. I'm so excited. This is actually our first guest, and Wendy is a home stager, and she's been staging homes for 22 years, if she's okay with me sharing that.
Nice.
What is our word, seasoned?
Yeah, very seasoned and experienced.
And before that, she was a real estate agent in Southern California. So, welcome, Wendy, and thank you for
Well,
joining us.
Well, thank you both for having me. I so appreciate this. This is going to be fun today.
Yes.
yes.
So today Wendy is going to talk to us about staging, the whys and the hows and what you're doing wrong. So to kick it off, well, actually I asked Shelly because I do this all the time and I asked Shelly what she wanted to know about staging and she goes, "What's wrong with my house? Why would I need to stage it?"
Right. Like, what do you
So,
hmm
mean? I kind of got a little offended. Like, what's wrong with my decorations? So I guess really the first question is why? Why do you stage? Why do people do it?
Well, I hate that everyone gets offended because that's exactly what happens. I mean, you have to understand we don't live the way that we sell. And so the reason why we stage, I mean, there's simple reasons. It does, in fact, and it is proven to get you more money, a higher and better price. So that's reason number one. And I think that's the best reason. It shows motivation to the buyers that come through. They see that you put effort into your home and that you actually want to sell it because nobody lives like this. We're living like monks. I mean, with nothing. And we don't have all the, I don't know, all the things that you're comfortable with around. You know, your remotes aren't everywhere and your toothbrush isn't out on the counter and all the things that you like where it is. It's not there when you're selling. So it shows motivation because a lot of buyers notice when sellers put their house on the market, they might not mean it. They might think they're going to be a difficult seller, but when they show that they put some effort into putting their house on the market, it means a lot. A packed box in the garage is a good thing, I say. It also shows the property. It shows that you're not hiding anything. We're not putting a rug over it. We're not disguising anything. And coming from Southern California as a real estate agent where everybody loves to sue everybody, I learned that really quickly. We have to be very open and honest. And I've told Jessica this many, many times, but over the years, I've had different relationships with realtors and stopped working with some because I didn't find them to be as honest with their sellers and their buyers to see what was real about the house. They wanted me to hide things and I won't do it. So that's the other thing. It shows the property. It also, here's the other thing. As a seller, you may not love this part, but I get you emotional. And then, of course, physically, because you've already packed a few boxes, but it gets you emotionally ready to sell your house. Because a lot of times they'll come back to me and say, I finally was able to release the house because it didn't feel like mine anymore. And we jokingly say that, you know, it helps them release their grip on the doorknobs. So it could be something just very simple. You know, we're not out there to change the whole look of the house. I use what people have, and we'll get
Do
probably more to
people argue
that.
with you? Do they be
Sometimes,
like, I am keeping this coffee pot on the counter? I mean,
yes.
do you have people that argue with you on
Yes.
things?
Oh, I have people that I would clear the counters, and while I was still there, they were putting stuff back. They didn't even wait for me to get out of the door. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
But, you know, there's a lot of ways around that. And one is I will just say I negotiate with terrorists, is what I tell them. I say I don't do that with my children, but I'll negotiate with y'all. But we'll talk about it. If they have a hot button, we'll figure it out. And then I get what I want too. So we just kind of work together on it. It's a team game. Got to get everybody to buy in.
that's so true what you said about that. It's not even a day later. I mean, it's while you're still there. After we're done and we're saying our goodbyes, they look around and they say, "This doesn't feel like my house anymore. I'm ready to let go." People who cried while we were staging because they were emotional, they said
Mhm.
they're good and they're ready. It's not their house anymore.
And part of like my job, and when we go in, I like to know you, Jessica, set me up for success. And that's one of the things that I noticed over the years that I needed to work with these agents better to get them to set me up for success. Because if they kind of explain what's going to happen, or if they know why, we're not going to have as much crying and we're not going to have as much sadness. And it does make a huge difference working with really strong, honest, capable agents. So really does help me. We've been very successful because of that. So thank
Yes.
you.
10 years of us working together.
I
oh,
know.
10
Isn't that crazy?
years. That's
I was thinking
amazing.
it is amazing. I was laughing because I was going back thinking of all my stories, and I there was a lady who The agent did not set me up for success in this one. And she was, let's just call her a Hobby Lobby fan. She had that 40% off coupon and she was using it, man. Every corner, every knickknack, above, we don't do anything above the kitchen cabinets anymore, but that thing was loaded. Can't even tell you. Everything was Hobby Lobby. It still had the price tags on it. That's how I know it was, in fact, Hobby Lobby 40% off coupon. I heard her on the phone. She had left the door to the garage open from the kitchen and we're taking down her stuff. She had called her girlfriend and they all call me she. She said, da, da, da.
Oh, no
So,
name.
no name. They forgot my name. They don't care about the name. It's just she. And so they're outside and she's crying on the phone. She made me take down my things above my kitchen cabinets. And she was just bawling. And I'm in the other room, just sweating, trying to take down all this stuff. And we only got about a third of the way because sometimes you have to know when to abort. So we got the big hunks, but I said, I can hear you, out there. And she came back in and she said, you took the soul out of my house. And I said,
Goodness.
well,
Soul
that's
stealer.
good. Yeah. I said, that's good. Then that means we're about halfway there. And I was just trying to get her to laugh because she was just so sad. And I said, all of this stuff, you get to see it again. I'm not taking it out the back, you get it all back when you get to your next house. But there is times we do have to go in, and Jessica's great helping with is gauging how realistically far can we go. We read the body language when we talk to them. I'll ask questions like, where are you going? And if they don't know where they're going, sometimes it's really hard to release the house and it's harder. It's going to be a harder stage. It could be a divorce situation. There could be a death. There could be lots of different situations that make it difficult. So I try and assess all that pretty quickly. If they don't trust me in the first 5 or 10 minutes, I'm in trouble. So it helps. And we also know how far to push. Sometimes we can't push as far, and that's okay. Any effort, going back to one of my points, any effort that shows motivation that you want to sell your house will be noted. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then my last reasons I was going to say, I had a couple more. It photographs better. I mean, it's going to photograph better because with our experience, now I know what photographs well and what doesn't. And it also will help it inspect and appraise better. Oftentimes when it's nice and clean and clear, the inspections will go better. And then also it supports y'all. I mean, that's why I do it. I do it because I want to support the agents to help them get through this. And I say the hard things that are hard for the agents to say. You don't need to say, I need you to clean that toilet. I can say that with love, sort of. And you don't have to say that.
And we're like, that horrible Wendy.
I know. They go, that mean lady, she's so mean. And I think that's great. That's my job for y'all, is to say the hard thing.
Well, I can tell you just from, my limited experience. So my experience with stagers is basically going to be on an appraisal.
Yeah.
So I can tell the real estate agents, that are the ones listing the houses when the appraiser gives us the report, and I go through the photos because I always look at the photos, right? For multiple reasons. But,
yes,
you see all the things and I'm like, oh, like they knew the appraiser was coming, and I'm shocked by the underwear on the floor. And oh my gosh, I could go on and on about stuff like that. And so, now that you're talking about the purposes and everything, I now can recognize, I never thought of it this way, but now I know, well, these are homes that haven't been staged, right? Because it's a total disaster.
And that's one of the things. I think it inspects and it appraises better. It does. We are humans that come in. These appraisers and inspectors are humans. If it's clean and tidy and things aren't restricted, it's going to get a better feel. They're going to get a better feel for it. So I believe in this.
The feeling, you see it in the pictures, but imagine showing that house and stepping over the dirty underwear to get to the bedroom.
Ugh. When you look at a picture and you know it smells bad. Yeah, that house smells bad.
You look at the picture and it smells bad.
Yes, absolutely. You go on realtor.com. I guarantee you're going to be like, oh, that house smells bad. You just know it. You don't want to go see it.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see a dirty house.
No, there's a lot of them out there.
Okay, Wendy, what do you suggest homeowners do before a stager comes to their house? What do they need to do to get ready?
Well, I laugh because in the olden days, when people weren't as prepared for me, they would show up in their, I had a man I've told you come in a kimono with nothing underneath it, like as if this was a surprise party. We always have an appointment.
Surprise party. In a
Oh, yeah.
kimono? How do you
Oh,
know there's
yeah.
nothing underneath? Can I ask that
Oh,
question?
yeah, I know. He was well, he wouldn't climb the ladder, but his wife he'd make
Oh,
climb the ladder. But when he was pointing, I mean, I'm talking about it was I always said, gosh, I need like an HGTV show called What's Behind the Door because oftentimes I don't get a lot of information about who's behind the door. I trust the agents. They've set me up for success, but I only know their first names and I'll just show up. Back then, I shouldn't have trusted some of those agents because they didn't know either. They didn't know the man was going to come in a silk kimono to the door with nothing underneath it.
oh,
And here he was. I mean, he wasn't a Calvin Klein model, you know. So it. I mean, I might not have minded, but that was a little frightening. When you get an appointment and the stager comes, just put pants on. We don't ask for a lot,
I
just
love that.
pants.
Put pants
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, so that's
You're
number
asking for a
one.
lot, Wendy.
I know.
That's
I'm demanding. I'm a demanding stager. But I would
who
just
thought
put
we had
pants
to
on.
ask that question.
Isn't that funny though? But people act like it's a surprise party. It looks like they've been body snatched out of every activity in their house sometimes. Like they just took a shower and their clothes are all over the floor, or they just made a huge breakfast. I mean, I'm like, just bare minimum, just tidy up. If you had the opportunity and you felt comfortable doing it, we would love you to maybe put away some of your personal photos. And everyone goes, oh my gosh, I put a ton away. Well, there's still 750 left. So, but you did make a dent, you know? And I'll tell you why that's important too. I mean, we want them just to do a little bit, but basically, before we get there, if they could just pick up a few things, not a lot, maybe do the dishes. I'll do the dishes. We've done the dishes for people before, Jessica.
Put some
We,
pants on.
yes, put some pants on. And then maybe just turn the AC up a little tiny bit because I'm an old lady and I pit out. I mean, we're sweating by the end of the time.
Gonna pit out.
We pit out. And so, I've got hot flashes. But
I
other
do.
than that, just have a positive, open mind and just be willing, know that I'm there, especially to work for you. We want you to get the highest and best price. It's not because your house doesn't look beautiful. It's because there's a few tricks and tips that we can help you get even better. And so that's what I believe. We've had, I was telling you the story about the bras hitting me in the face when I go into the closet, just little things. Just think about if your mother in law was coming over, what would you pick up before your mother in law came? But I do not need you to vacuum out of a room.
I would say maybe get rid of the boudoir photos.
Are you
I
kidding
one time,
me?
yeah, yes,
Um,
I've had
we
that
had to
where
take
I
photos.
have gone
We've
to
had those.
house and I'm like, they showed me those photos hanging on the wall in their bedroom, and I was like, that's gonna need to come down.
Yeah, that's going to
gonna
come down.
come down.
Well, I laugh because we never want the house to be like called something, the purple house, the whatever, the booby house is a favorite. So, because, for some reason, everyone has booby statues, statues of boobies everywhere. And kids are going to be coming through there. And I'm like, you're going to be called the booby house. And the kids are just going to be laughing. So that's what they're going to say. Yeah, well, remember the booby house.
Nickname the house. Yeah.
They're going to nickname the house. We don't want them to call anything dirty. But also it would be really nice. We have to remember that we are in Texas. It'd be really nice if maybe like a loaded gun wasn't in the corner because that's happened a
Oh,
lot. Oh yeah.
what?
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
one you collected like 6 guns.
Uh-huh. Yes. There's been one like right when you walk in the door, like the office to the left, and I go, is this loaded? And he's like, uh-huh. Like pretty sure that needs to go away. Every now and then we don't look, but if there's like a coaster we could stick in the bedside table, I mean, we literally look away,
Look at the
open it
bedside.
up and put the coaster in and close it. But one day something silver caught my eye and it was this massive handgun. I mean, massive. I can't say that kids aren't going to open something when they go through things. So we just really it's important that we pack up our guns, put them in, safes, put them up really high, get them under the bed in a case, something so that people can't see them. And also, we don't want anything like that online with your address, because some people have gun collections on their walls and love them. But I don't, that's a
We don't want
perfect
to
way for
advertise
your
it.
house to be, yeah, targeted. And the Louis Vuitton purses and all that stuff too. I like to try and keep any of that kind of stuff. So we were talking about the personal photos. That's the main reason. Well, other than releasing the home and not making your home say mine, mine, mine. Every time you walk into a room, it's mine, mine, mine. We want them to take the photos down so that it's not just their house anymore, but for personal safety. People don't need to know anything about you during negotiations. They don't need to know where you work. They don't need to know where your kids go to school. They don't need to know anything about you. It actually hurts you in negotiations oftentimes if they know anything about you. So I ask everybody to hide everything personal that we can. So we go through looking for hot zones.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary. There was a house that I showed once that, I mean, it was all the personal pictures, but the kids' names are up on the walls in their room. They have the soccer schedule on the fridge. They have all the things to show what school their kids go to. I mean, it's scary how much you know about that family, the lanyard for mom's hospital she works at, like all
Mm-hmm.
the things that they could
Oh,
gather
wow.
from being in their house for 10 minutes.
And I tell people oftentimes if there's nothing else that we do is to stage it, is to get rid of that stuff. I don't care let a bra hit me in the face. I would rather that kind of personal information be stripped down, bare minimum. And that's the thing is when we go in, Jessica's probably going to ask me this question next, is that's, I kind of give them all these little rules, but oftentimes it's because of stories that I've heard. I have another addendum, to my story because you keep hearing things that not everybody is, we can't always have eyes on everybody in the house. So we want to make sure that you're protected when you walk out.
Really smart. I didn't think about all these things. Like even somebody's diploma on the wall in their office, saying that I don't know, they graduated from law school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Like
and
that
then,
could,
maybe they think you have too much money and you don't need that much. You know what I mean? There's just
right.
different things. I had a Dallas Cowboy, a former Dallas Cowboy, and he had his Super Bowl rings out and he had his footballs and gorgeous, looked great. I said, okay, all of it's got to go. I said, do you really, first of all, if it could fit in someone's pants, like a Super Bowl ring, it makes me nervous. And people aren't here to rob you blind. They're not. It always goes well. But we don't know all the buyers that come through on a personal basis. We
Absolutely.
don't know everybody. He was so game on it. And we went and just stuck books in his cases. And we left this other glass case empty and he boxed it all up for the next house. He got it and he also wasn't sure he wanted everyone to know that he lived there. But there's lots of good reasons to hide it.
So, what are some of the biggest mistakes you see people make when they stage?
Well, the personal photos. Personal photos was number one on mine. I think that's the biggest mistake. They all think, oh, they would love to see who lives here. No, they don't care about that. They are looking for square footage and deferred maintenance. I think a lot of people put things that are too tall in a room. Like I always clear off like kitchen counters, especially the island, because if you were to photograph or walk into a room and have a tall, can't see beyond it to what's actually for
Kitchen
sale.
island. Oh, yes, so
Kitchen
often.
islands.
Huge vase, really, really tall
Mhm.
vase or something. Yeah, it blocks your view of the rest of the kitchen.
We have to remember what's for sale and what's not for sale. And that's where I think the sellers sometimes get confused. They're like, but that's so beautiful there. And I'm like,
It's not for sale.
it's not for sale. So we want to make sure that the buyers can see what's actually for sale. So that's the other one. I talked to you about Hobby Lobby corners. Corners, and this is going to sound crazy, but corners of your house is where energy gets stuck. And when I go into a house, a lot of times I can feel the energy of the house. I can feel if it's a sad house, or if I can feel it's a joyous house, or if I can feel it's a warm house. And when people cram things in your corners, your energy stays very low. So you really should go home and look at corners and see what you can release. So I try and make sure things are out of corners. Things aren't just sitting on the floor, eating up square footage, not doing anything. Yes, it might make the place look a little prettier, but is it at the risk of losing 3 square feet? To kind of
Well,
think through that.
that quote I shared with you the other day from a class I was in, she
Mm-hmm.
said, clutter eats equity. So the more
Mm-hmm.
stuff you have, it
Ooh.
it eats the square footage. So square
It
footage sells, so you're eating equity.
so every square foot matters. If they can't
What do they
see
put in the
that,
corners? I'm confused. I'm looking around my
oh,
own
a
house
plant, a doodad,
in the corner.
Yes.
a
Filling space.
lantern.
Filling.
Starting to get paranoid now in my craft room, looking around a
No
corner
one's
that's
gonna see
filled.
it.
I'm going to be like, yes, no one's looking.
Looking around my
But I
office right
don't
now,
think
like,
I have any. But
Jessica,
you do
am
have to
I?
be careful. Yeah, anything that's just on the ground is eating up square footage. So it has to be very purposeful. So, because
Perfect. Well, it's a good, yes, everything that's in there should be serving a purpose to show off the house.
and that doesn't mean you can't have a plant. It just can't be that you have 100 plants. They have to be very purposeful and intentional where we put things in a perfect world.
I think the biggest challenge people have is understanding that there's such a difference between decorating and staging.
It's hard.
When we come in and the amount of stuff we remove, they think that they're little hoarders by the time we're done. How much stuff do you normally remove from a house?
It depends because luckily we've gotten out of the dark, dreary, old world stuff that we had with ivy everywhere. And we've kind of moved away from that, which is great because when you put ivy, because all their greenery is all on the ground, but we don't have as much of that. Oftentimes, the way we work is we put it in what we call a thinking pile if we think that we can use it again. And then if we're pretty sure we can't, a naked baby picture in the bathtub, it stays over there in the not using pile. But we try and separate our piles and then we try and reuse what we can. Oftentimes, it either goes one way or the other. Either they have so much stuff that we just have to pull back, or they don't have very much, and we have to figure out how to decorate it with what little they have. Which I'm okay. I'm good with just a top of a dresser empty.
Yeah.
Love that.
When I know some stagers do bring in items, when should you be bringing in things or renting furniture or buying new furniture?
Well, it's a good question. I don't know if we mentioned I've been doing this 22 years. I was a lot younger 22 years ago, and I literally was carrying sofas upstairs and downstairs, like on my back. I can't do that anymore. We don't do that kind of bringing in furniture. That's a whole nother business model. Take what you have and just move it around and try and make it work. And every now and then, yeah, you're going to lose a chair, but sometimes it's good to bring in pillows. Sometimes it's good to bring in an art, but for me, I almost would rather have nothing on the walls than have some rando piece of art that doesn't really go with it. I think buyers appreciate empty space as well. The reason why I like a house to have some furniture in it is we like to show them how to use it, like to show them where to set the furniture up. So if we can show them how to do that. So if you have an empty house, sometimes that's a good idea to show them. But we can do virtual staging with that too to kind of give people an idea. But I don't think a house needs a ton. I think it's nice to be a little naked.
Except for the people.
I like the people clothed and the house naked.
Exactly. I love it.
I know a lot of people do go that route with renting furniture, but just my experience, what I've seen, it seems like that's better on the luxury homes, higher priced homes. I don't see the return on investment.
Because it can be $7,000 to $10,000 a month to rent furniture for some of those larger homes, and
just a couple of rooms.
For just a couple of rooms a month. And I would do it the cheapest we did, and I'd rent it for some people and bring it in, and it'd be about $3,000 a month. But there's a 3-month minimum. So if your house sold right away, you're still already paying that money. I would rather, if it's not a mansion, not a really, really big home, I think we can either virtually stage something if we need to, or leave it empty is okay too. But when it's empty, it's got to be tight. The paint has to be good. It has to be clean. It's got to smell like bleach because there's nothing to distract them.
I've had people worry because they have a sofa that's old and ratty looking. They're so worried about it, and they wonder if they're supposed to go rent something or buy a new couch.
We go, the couch isn't for sale, and we call it shabby chic.
Shabby chic. I love it. Well, speaking of smells, what about pets? What do people do when you've got a home that has pets?
Well, in a perfect world, we'd love you to foster them out, but that's not going to happen. So, and I love pets, but the reason why everyone loves your pets when they're visiting your home, but when they're buying your home, we want to act like it's pet free. We want to act like it. If people do ask if you have cats, you're going to have to disclose that. Yes. If there is some cats, but a lot of times, especially if there's hard surfacing, we can disguise all that stuff. We can just pick it up. But people really worry about allergies. They worry about germs. They worry about dirt. They worry about a lot of stuff. So when are showing your house, in the perfect world, we'd like you to remove the pets from the home during those showings, whatever that means, and take what I call all pet evidence out. And it could go in the garage. I opened up a closet the other day in the laundry room, and the lady specifically said, "Don't open that closet." Of course, what does that make you want to do? Totally
Open the closet.
I mean, I was like, I've seen it all.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I opened this little closet and the smell of urine, cat urine, it burned my face. And I swear I could smell it the whole day. Even my sister was there and she's smelling it. So we were, and we had to talk to them about remediating that smell. You can't sell the house. You have cat urine. And oftentimes those cats are very sneaky. They pee on rugs. So we just get rid of them a lot of times. You can get rid of the rugs and help get rid of some of that
Do the people
smell.
not smell it themselves
No,
anymore?
they
Do
don't smell it anymore.
So you can
There,
smell it when
there
you
with
walk
the
in.
house I showed a couple weeks ago. We didn't make it 2 steps, didn't make it past the foyer. We opened the door and we were like, whoa. And my buyer was out. The cat
Yeah.
smelled so bad.
The
It was
cat
so
smell.
bad, we had to leave.
Yeah, I went into a house one time and luckily it burned down later.
Oh,
I mean, I'm telling you, this was one of the first aborted stages I've ever had. Like it's a very big fail if I have to abort a stage. It smelled so bad. It smelled so bad and it was just awful. And we had to abort. It was too much. And now literally I have Vicks Vapor Rub in my, like the morgue. I have that in my box now, a staging box. So that just in case I can just
what?
I can stick a little Vicks Vapor Rub under my nose like
And
they do in the
then you
morgue.
don't smell the
Then I don't
smells.
smell it. Then I don't have to smell it while I'm working.
I
It can
had
be
no
bad.
idea all
But
this
yeah,
was
that
going
house
on.
apparently burned down later. And the agent actually decided not to sell it too. They walked away. It was just too much. It was too much cat poop and hairless cats everywhere. I'm having PTSD just talking about it again. It was a lot.
Goodness.
It was a
Wow.
lot. Yeah, we've seen a lot. It's funny.
Yeah.
I don't like the hair. I'm not anti-cat. The hairless cats are a little weird. I hope I didn't offend listeners. We have a lot of hairless. Am I going to be getting emails?
Yes. You're going to be getting hate emails.
I'm getting hairless cat hate emails. I'm probably don't send me any photos of your cat.
No hairless cat photos, please.
I was just going to ask what tips you have for things that people can do when they are getting their house staged and ready. Things that they should, I mean, besides like the personal pictures, are there anything that?
Yeah, I mean, people that have the hardest time selling their homes often are the ones that don't know where they're going to land next.
Okay.
So you could even just picture yourself in a city, a neighborhood, an area of town. That sometimes helps you release where you're going. And
Sort of a mental.
yeah, I mean, I think it really helps. I had a man, we had a house that didn't sell for 6 months, and oftentimes I get called in for emergency situations. So, and it was a divorce situation, and he was sad, and he wasn't giving the offers that were coming in if he had he didn't want to look at them. You know, they were all too low. Something was always wrong with everything. I get called in and there really wasn't much to do in the house at all. He just needed to pick up a couple things. I think I turned an elephant from the right to the left. I don't know. I did nothing. But literally there was nothing to do. But when I sat down and talked to him and I talked about his motivation, I asked him where he was going, and he started talking to me about the divorce and how sad he was, how he didn't really want to let go of that house. So I decided we were going to walk through every single room, and I had him tell me a happy memory about that room. And he told me the memory, and I said, now I want you to say goodbye to this room. He said goodbye to it. And we went to the next. He did that through the whole house. We were bawling, but we intentionally went through every single room of that house, and he told me a memory, and we said goodbye. 3 days later, a full price offer came in, and that agent thinks I'm a witch. But what happened was that man just released the house. He finally, through the process of talking to me and thinking it through, and we talked about where he was going to go next and just getting him to release it. Buyers can feel that when you come in, if you have any hesitancy. I've had some people
talked about
say,
the energy earlier,
the
right?
energy,
And
yes.
so, yes,
They can feel that.
impacted that.
Yes, it did. And so the agent was just couldn't believe it, but it was really just because he just finally said, okay, I'm ready. And he said it out loud to me. I had a lady a couple of weeks ago. She goes, I don't even really need to sell the house. And I go, okay, next time you say that, I want you to say that outside in the backyard. Do not
Yeah.
say that inside this house. You say things like that in the house. It sits in this house. It's sitting on the floor. I don't want that in here. And she laughed. I go, I'm serious. Please take me serious because people can feel it. They won't write
Yeah.
you an offer. Yeah, when it was the seller's market, when sellers thought, oh, I could sell my house looking like no big deal. And they could in some ways, but I don't think they got as much money. But nowadays, I think they need to put in the work. They need to show motivation. They need to want to sell, and they'll sell it.
We just had an episode where we were talking about the market, and that's exactly what I told Shelly, that actually my photographer told me that they're getting multiple new agent clients a week.
Oh,
And I think it's because all these agents who were doing cell phone pictures or no pictures at all, they're realizing they have to step it up. I mean, the good
Mhm.
houses are selling, but you have to price it right. You have to prepare it,
Stage it.
stage it,
yes.
and
Yes.
properly photograph. So
Yes, there's so many good reasons to do it. There's really no downside. And there's a bare minimum approach, and then that the homeowners can do, and then having a professional stager come in and just tighten things up a little bit is always good. And like you said, decorating is so different than staging. When I have to flip that switch and decorate someone's house, I forget, sometimes it's hard for me to remember, oh, I can leave something red. We didn't talk about the color red,
oh,
you know,
yes.
in a photo, if there's a red pillow or a red rug or a red picture, there's that much contrast, it doesn't photograph well. And that's the only thing you see when you're swiping your pictures. You're not going to look at the ceilings and the floors and the walls. So we try
It
and
stands
take
out
some of
when it
that out.
photographs poorly. It usually turns out more fuchsia, so it doesn't look great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, so now after all of this, Shelley, do you feel like you would not be as offended having a stager come into your home?
Oh my goodness. Let me just tell you, I've been taking notes on this. I had no idea. I would not be offended at all. I
That's
totally understand.
good.
I mean, some of the things I'm like, oh my gosh, like release the house. You're talking about, releasing the house, the energy of the house and putting pants on. Like I'll never forget that. Like,
Yeah, wear those.
You just gotta wear pants, Molly.
I mean,
yeah.
well,
And
we might
the
not have pants on right now because I can only see you from chest up.
ah,
But
we're
but
not talking about
but
that.
yeah, on this you don't have to. But during
You don't
yeah,
have to on
staging,
Zoom.
yeah,
No, but
exactly.
like
But
When you're
staging,
clearly
having
yes,
strangers come into your home, you should
yeah.
wear pants.
Let's
you
keep
should
pants
wear
on.
pants.
Yeah, no kimonos.
Yeah. So no, I'm totally on board and didn't really think about it. Like I said, I've seen, appraisal photos. I see them all the time in my business, and that's really all I see of the houses. But I can totally tell a difference in the photos, the quality, um, you know, just the whole experience for the buyer,
And you
right?
can
They're
tell
super
they
excited.
tried. Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
I just appreciate sellers that are willing to do anything. And like
And if you
we
think
were
about
saying, we have to abort sometimes. Sometimes we do a third of what we want, but we got a third of it. We
right.
get
Yeah, we'll be whispering
excited.
to each other like, "Hey, they're having a hard time. We
Yeah,
gotta let this
let it
one go."
go.
Yeah.
And I'll ask
Well,
them during the whole thing, how you doing? How you doing? And they all say
yes.
yay, but then they go in the other room and go, she said whatever.
She back to she, and they
But
start crying. They
it is
start
the
crying.
best time when the husband pulls me aside and goes, I've always hated that. And then the wife will pull me aside in some other room and say, I've always hated it. So kind of great.
Soul stealer,
I get rid
Wendy.
of it. I am a soul stealer.
Well, I think we should end on another fun story of yours since you've seen so much. Do you want to share the chair one, or do you have a better one?
Oh my gosh, the chair one. And this wasn't even one of yours, was it? Was it just one
Oh
that we had
no,
told
no,
you?
no, no.
Oh no,
Thank
this wouldn't have
goodness.
been Jessica's. Yes, no.
Of course, it wouldn't be
No,
mine.
So
what?
my sister moved out here and she became my assistant. And she's so fun. And everyone loves her better than me because she's the nice sister, right? She's not the bossy one. I'm the bossy one. Michelle's the sweet. And so I always tell him to punch Michelle, but because she doesn't run very fast. But it was one of her very first houses. And we were at this house and there was a recliner sitting on a small rug. I know the recliner's on a small rug so that it didn't, like when you recline or rock or whatever, you don't scoot across the floor, but it wasn't going to look good in a photo. So we wanted to move the recliner and take the small rug out. So we move the recliner and we lift up the rug. My sister lifts up the rug. And all this stuff falls out onto the floor. We hear some things clinging, clanging. Those were toenail trimmers. All those, there were like 3 or 4 of them fell off the rug when we picked it up. And we'd already found several like on the side table and gobs. And I mean, I don't know what a measurement of a gob is, but it was a lot of toenail clippings. Fell out
Actual
all over my sister's feet and all over the ground. And then we had to clean up toenail clippings and vacuum that. We were going to put it away. They were everywhere. But this person just sat there.
Raining down.
Oh, no, I don't want to touch any of that.
That thing. And, just we always hear
Do you
about
wear
like
gloves?
skin.
I'm just curious. Like, do you wear gloves?
Also feels offensive. So no, we don't. But we do walk around like doctors where our hands are like out in the face. So we don't touch our face. And if you have to itch, you got to itch like that. There's certain times, and I always tell people, like, my biggest compliment is, look, touching my face right now, in your home, it's that clean. That's like the nicest thing I can say to somebody.
I can totally understand that now.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah,
we don't.
That's her compliment to people. She's like, I can touch my face.
I am totally touching. Look, let me touch my hair. I'm touching my hair. But we go outside and we walk outside like doctor surgeons about to get our gloves on, and we go outside and then we use our wet wipes. But I think it's offensive, and so we don't. But there have been reasons we should have, but we don't.
Pick up the toenails.
Oh yeah, we swept those. Yeah,
Okay.
and the best was that it was all on my sister's feet and like shoes.
Oh!
It was the greatest. It was the single greatest moment of my life because I loved it.
Well, hey, I know we're wrapping it up, but real quick, Wendy, do you want to share a little bit about your other business?
Oh gosh, yes. So since I'm like the Grinch that stole Christmas, and when I come to Stage Your House, I undecorate it. I need a creative outlet. So I have a business called Yahoo and Yippee. Yahoo is me and Yippee is my sister. And we have a business at the Grapevine Antique Market. We have a booth there, and I've had that for about 15 years now. We do a lot of Western antiques, and we do a bunch of crafts. We enter things into the State Fair of Texas. We do a bunch of vintage inspired things. So if you're ever in the Grapevine area on Northwest Highway, you can come see Yahoo and Yippee. You can come out there and see us. There's some really great people in there, some great antiques and vintage items in the Grapevine Antique Market.
That sounds
fun.
amazing.
I'll put,
thank you for that.
Links with info in our show notes and on our social media.
Oh, thank you for this. This was so fun. This is my passion. I just love it. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm so proud of y'all with your podcast. This is so fun. So thank you for letting me be a guest.
Yes, we're so glad to have you.
What an honor.
Yes, and then for our listeners, you can check us out on our socials, Facebook and Instagram. It's Nestology Podcast, or you can email us at nestologypodcast@gmail.com. Don't know why I always have trouble with that.
I'm glad you say it. I keep forgetting. Anyway, thank you all for joining us, where we hope you make the best of your nest.
Bye.
Bye.